Hello friends, welcome back to 7 Days to Die In-Depth, modding with RongoTheBold. So in this, oh interesting, over that's kind of cool, a little wasteland. So in this episode we're going to be looking at mining, changing, I see you Hornet, you just stay over there and I won't kill you. Changing up mining, we've added some fun things to the world, so you see, we've switched the RWG generation type in the Biomes.xml file to all. And that will generate minerals out here. And also it'll generate caves. So if you want it just out in the regular world, then you could use noise. If you want caves, you use caves. If you want both caves and just regular, then you would use all. So we have all enabled. Let's go ahead and spawn in a pickaxe. Fuck off. I will kill you. I warned you. I warned it, right? Everyone saw that? Okay. But I did something 2 times better. Copper ore. Zinc ore. Oh, really? You're going to make me shoot you as well? Congrats. I am level 2. So I want to grab a couple of these. So you have tested nitrate. What do I have here? Iron. I'd like to get another zinc ores, just so we have a little bit more to work with. Oh, right. I'm trying to do science here. Jeez. Alright, well, anyway, you guys have seen the fact that we've got copper and zinc in the world now. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to a nice quiet place. If we can't find a nice quiet place, we'll go to a nice place with very few zombies. Alright, let's land over here. Like some sort of zombie god. Okay, so next thing, first things first. I need a forge. Forge. Yes, please. I need some more zinc ore just to have some more. Some more copper ore just to have some more. And I'm going to need some clay. Actually, I'll just take the whole thing. And you know what? I think I've made a little oops. There's one thing I forgot to make. So I will be right back. Got the other pieces that I needed to get gotten together. So, what are we doing next? We're going to put a forge down. And I'm also going to put down a... Oops. Had to quit out of the game and back. Campfire. Someone wants to be killed. Really? Who wants to be killed? You do? Anybody else want to be killed? I should have turned zombies off, I guess. But, you know, it adds a little fun and excitement when the... Wow, really? I should probably also go to a real man's weapon. Can see that. Oh, that's right. I've tweaked these arrows slightly. I forgot to set them back. These are... I was testing out Molotov cocktails, which you just can't do yet. You cannot apply a burn effect with an explosion. So I couldn't do it. But in the meantime, I was playing around, and I also made exploding arrows. Because why wouldn't you? Right? Am I right? I thought you guys would get a little kick out of that. But then I forgot about it. Who? What? Why? Alright, now let us do our science in quiet, please. Thank you, friends. Okay, so we've got zinc and copper ore now. And you might be wondering and asking yourself, okay, so what do you do with zinc and copper ore now that you've got zinc and copper? Well, zinc and copper combine. Shh. Make brass. I really should have turned zombies off. Alright, give me one moment. Let me finish off some zombies. Alright, good enough. Okay, so you may be wondering now. So, Rongo, you've got iron ore and that. So what do? Well, we got to make molds. So I made recipes for molds, and they're basically kind of similar. They're just offset. So we got a zinc mold and a copper mold. So now we got these two items. Okay, so let's go ahead and fire our forge up. We'll drop a copper ingot in, ingot mold in, drop in that, and I need some coal. There we go. So this will cook down our copper ore, which is a weight of 96, and this requires 48 to make an ingot. So we'll see here in a second that it says that. And obviously, I'm gonna go through all of the XML files as well, so you guys understand what I did. I did get some inspiration from the forums. I was looking at how people were, suggested doing it, and I found one post where someone described how they just said basically, oh yeah, I got the copper and ore in the game, and then I made a crucible to mix them together. I was like, okay, that's... Yeah, go over there. It's over that way. Good morons. Zombies, zombies, zombies. Always with the zombies. Okay, so we've got... Two's good enough. Alright, let's get our zinc going. So, swap the zinc mold in. And it's slightly different color than the lead ore is. I use the same... model and textures as the zinc one. Oh dear. Okay, hang on a second here. We're gonna fix this. I gotta actually be able to pay attention and focus on you guys, not on zombie. So we have it on Nomad, which is Wimpy. We've got it on. What do I have? Enemies. Let's set this to. Come on. Disabled. No craft timer. Okay. Start the game back up. Copper learning. Copper loving. Okay, now you guys can all fuck off. Alright. So we got our ingots. Now, where I ran into trying to figure this out was, okay, how do you mix them together? And then I realized that the campfire has 4 spots. Because you got to melt them together. And there's a couple ways you could do this. I went the route of creating ingots first, but I could have and something again, it's just how you want to think and approach this. You got to come up with a way of mixing the two together. So you can either mix them afterwards. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to mix the ingots together and produce brass, or you could mix the ore together and put that mixed ore into a mold and output brass. You can actually use the brass. You can actually use everything else the same. You could maybe mix them together, and it would probably be faster and simpler to mix them together. But this way, we also have zinc ingots and copper ingots, which is useful for other things as well, or could be useful for other things as well. So, how do we mix them together, you ask? Well, I came up with another tool. Oh, I need some scrap iron. Actually, I can do this. Scrap iron, please. Okay, so what we do is we make a... Is that what I did? Crucible. Ah. Forgot which way I did it. So it looks like it's a bowl. It's slightly different colored than the regular clay bowl, but it's a crucible. And the crucible then goes in the fire as a cookware item. Gives us 4 items to cook with. Let's throw some of that on there. And then we take our copper ingots and our zinc ingots, and that outputs brass ingots. So I think that this is, it's fairly easy to do. I mean, we've got a few new items in the game. So we've got the crucible, we've got zinc ore, because copper ore, copper ingots, and copper ingot mold are part of the game already. They don't work, and they're not implemented fully, but they are there. So you could theoretically have copper right now in your files. They've got to have some additions made to them in order to make them actually work, but it's there. And all it is that you got to add it into the world so you can find copper ore. Now, zinc is basically a duplicate of brass that I recolored. And then you got to make the recipe files, and then you've got to make any other items that you need, like the crucible or whatever. So that's what we need. So we have all the pieces, all that stuff together, brass. And I also showed you guys we have in the world regular ores being distributed with pearl and worms throughout the world. So all that great stuff, all that good stuff. Get the rest of our copper on here. So I was pretty happy with how it turned out. I mean, like I said, you could have gone a different way, but I think I'd like to have the brass, the copper ingots and the zinc ingots, because you could do different, you could maybe use them in different recipes as well. So I think that worked out pretty good. So let's go ahead. Now that we know how it all works, we'll quit out of here and let me show you how it all gets implemented in the game. So let's go ahead and hide that. So we are, as usual, in local drive, Steam, Steam apps, common, 7 days to die, data, config directory. Now, let's start off. We're going to need to do things. There's a few steps that you got to take on this. So the first step is biomes. In order to enable the spawning, and I have increased the size as well to make it a little easier to see stuff for myself and for other mature viewers who have eyes that are not so great. So you'll notice, oh, actually, wait, hold on, before I do that, spoiler alert, one moment. Cancel that, never mind. All right, so I was saying, I went ahead and changed all the RWG regeneration types to all, so we get those things being generated. And then you'll notice in each layer, I've added copper ore and zinc ore with these cluster values and probability the same as everything else that's in there. So copper ore and zinc ore will generate. Now, of course, we need to define them. So this is a multi-stage process. So in the Biomes XML, we're going to add copper ore and zinc ore, change the RWG generation type to all, or if you want to have them still in caves, just do caves, and you'll be good. You want to add this to each biome, otherwise you'll have biomes that have different stuff in them. Speaking of, I noticed that which biome was it? Yes, the water biomes, underwater, has very little. You don't find lead or tungsten, anything like that there, so I left that alone. And I also didn't add it to the wasteland because I'm not going to do a lot of mining in the radiated main biome. So figured good enough, good enough. All right, so that's the biomes XML file. The next file that we edit, oh, go away, please. The next file we edit is the blocks.xml file. So in the blocks.xml file, again, these are have a new ID. So we need to add a new block. Actually, we need to add a couple of new blocks, or just a new block, I guess. The new blocks, so blocks are things in the world. So ore is one of those things. So copper ore, like I said, already exists in the game, so we just need to modify it. But we need to add zinc ore. So what I did is I took the lead ore, I copied it, and gave it a new ID, called it zinc ore, gave it a custom icon of lead ore, gave it a custom icon tint of back4C8, which is RGB, or that's just hex value, red. Each pair is a color value ranging from 0 to 255. So FF is 255 if you know your hexadecimal. Reminds me of a song, FF bits on the bus, FF bits on the bus. Take it down, take one down, short it to ground, FE bits on the bus. It's an engineer's song. Let's see. Oh, so anyway, that's the color of, that's zinc color. Give it a material of zinc and gave it a weight of 96. When it gets destroyed, it drops a zinc ore. When it falls, it drops a zinc ore. So if we look up here and find copper, hi kitty kitty, I had to do a couple things with copper as well. I had to add that destroy and fall so it would result. And I changed it, gave it a weight. You can see added by Rongo, because if we don't have the weight on there, basically you can't put it in the forge, because the forge is like, this doesn't weigh anything, I can't cook anything with it. So it needs to have that weight value. So if you wanted to have copper be lighter, so you only get, like, for example, 1 ingot out of each piece of ore, then you could change this to 48, because an ingot weighs 48. So changing this value determines how many ingots you get out of an ore. Hope that makes some sense. Material, I gave it a material of copper. And I'll explain, well, let me explain this right now. So everything has to have a material, and those materials are defined in materials.xml, which I'll show you in a second. So if it doesn't have, it has to have a unique material in order to be treated differently. So basically when you cook it, it needs to have the same, everything needs to match up. Best way to say it. So we've got our copper ore and we've got our zinc ore, which are defined in the blocks XML since they are placed in the world. So the next one we modified is items. So let's go ahead and open, actually let's do materials next. So materials XML, this is the easy one. So copper's in here. All these data already existed. The only thing I changed was forge category to copper, so that when you put copper in, you get copper out. It has a surface category of metal. This determines what sound plays when you walk across it, and this damage category is what damage hits you when it hurts. A step sound, a step sound right here. So these are all kind of like when you hit it with a pickaxe, when you walk on it, how stable it is, how much it ties together, etc. So we got copper and we've got zinc. So those two items in there, and each one has their, like this has its also a forged category of zinc. So I think that makes sense. So let's go ahead and close that one. So the next one we edit is the items.xml. So the items.xml, we need to add a few things in here. So these items.xml are the things in the game that you can interact with. So I should take off this explosion. Let me disable the explosion effect. I'm taking out the comments right now, and then I'm going to comment this whole entire block out. If you're wondering who comments, it's an HTML comment, which has been used in XML as well, which is nice. Oh, burning. Turn the burning off as well. We don't need the burning, exploding. Yeah, it was doing everything. Okay, so the new items that I added, I needed to have an ingot for zinc, the kind of the final product on the output. Again, it needs to have a unique ID. So I'm using the mesh file from ingot lead, so it's the same mesh as that. It's the material of zinc, so that ties back to the materials.xml file. Weight 48, so this is how much an ingot weighs. So basically, you get 2 ingots out of 1 ore. I'm using custom icon value ingot lead and custom icon tint the back 4C8. Oh, also I went ahead and added that custom icon for the arrows and for the bows, and thanks to thanks to Jay Swanson Quicksilver for pointing out that I could use custom icons like that. And he mentioned that wooden bow didn't work for him, but it did work for me. So maybe he can look at this. Jay Swanson, if you look at this, he, she, I shouldn't say he. So anyway, I did add icons, so we have icons in your toolbar now for those things, if you noticed. So ingot zinc, ingot mold zinc. So there's the mold for it. I used the regular mold mesh, give it a custom icon, which is the ingot mold lead, gave it the same color. Mold target is ingot zinc. So basically the mold target is what it'll output. It'll output an ingot zinc. And I did up to the copper. I think ingot copper. I had to give it a weight because that was not set in the game. So if you modify that, you need to make sure that you modify that ingot copper to have a weight as well. Okay, and then the next item I added was the crucible, and that's the crucible to mix them together. And I actually want to, I'll change the recipe here in a moment. Use the clay bowl mesh and icon, and then I just colored it a little bit. So it's very similar to the clay bowl, just duplicated it, gave it a different custom icon and custom tint. Bada bing, bada boom. So we'll save this. And then next one is in our recipes file. So the recipes file, again, where we define the recipes for our items. We'll scroll on here. So we needed a couple of items. First of all, let me do the second. So -1 0 1 0. This needs to be 1. Okay, that way it's the V inverted. And then 2 0, little scrap metal on the right hand side for the handle, which I guess you could use whatever you want, but I decided to use scrap iron. So this is my crucible recipe. So it's the regular recipe, 4 items, bada bing, bada boom. And then ingot mold zinc and ingot mold copper. I needed basically to be able to create those 2 molds. So I just grabbed an existing mold recipe, moved it, shifted it to the left, and then shifted it to the right. Got my 2 recipes in there. So I hope all that makes sense. So it's a lot of modifications. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put all those together into one document, and actually I'm going to make a post on my website, RongoTheBold.com, and I will have the instructions on how to do this and how to make the custom bow. So in case you guys want to do that, you are more than welcome to grab those files and do it. But once again, I do say that, you know, if you are mining the game, remember, you take all responsibilities for doing it. If you break it, you have to fix it yourself. But it's super easy. You just go into Steam and tell it to restore local files, validate and check integrity, and it'll fix all those kind of mistakes. So I think that kind of does it for this one. I tried as well to make, like I mentioned, I tried to make Molotov cocktails. Not ready yet. You cannot cause this, for what I can tell, you cannot cause the burning buff to be applied through an explosion. I can do it if I throw I can actually throw the bottle at a zombie, hit the zombie, and catch him on fire, but it would not spread. It doesn't burst like a Molotov should. So I decided, for now, we won't worry about it. I know that pimps will add that at some point. It just makes sense that they'll add it at some point. What else? I wanted to also thank Aethelfirth for pushing me to create a Facebook page. There is now a facebook.com/RongoTheBold. So if you feel like it, go ahead and like that. I honestly can't say how much I'll update it. Probably about as often as I update the blog. But, it's all good. Hope you guys enjoy that. And you can communicate there with me, and I'll communicate back. But, yeah. All right. If you have ideas of other things you want me to try out, let me know. And I am going to continue going through the files one by one and explain them as fully as I know them. I also want to point out that the 7 Days to Die mod tools have been updated. Hal's prefab editor has been updated so that you can now work with Alpha 11 files. When you open up the 7 Days to Die editor, it will, after you do your regular install, it will prompt you to do an update. You update it, and then it'll update to version 0.40, Forgetful Fish, and then you can work on your prefabs. And he also updated his prefab converter, which is awesome. So that means that pretty soon all of those prefab packs from Alpha 10 will be moved forward to Alpha 11. There are a few bugs still with it. There's about a half a dozen blocks that don't get the proper rotation, but I know that he will have that fixed pretty quick. And also the XML editor is also been updated, and it still does not edit items, but it lets you edit a lot of other stuff pretty well. So if you're interested in checking those out, this is a very visual way of doing it. All these things, you can basically, it lets you edit the XML without having to know the XML stuff. So if you guys feel more comfortable with that, you can do it. I honestly feel a little more comfortable using just the XML itself. But the one I will be using as soon as it's updated, and he is updating it, is Bloodsinger's recipe editor, because it's just so much faster to create recipes visually than to try and think out in your head where each item is on the grid. And that will be good. All right, friends. Well, for now, it's been RongoTheBold. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, click that like button, comment, subscribe, tell your friends, family, and your grandma. And I'll see you guys with more in-depth 7 Days to Die Alpha 11. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Shh. Wow, what a huge cavern.